Heading into playoffs week 2, the Shanghai Dragons were set to face off against the Seoul Dynasty in a best-of-3 series. With the return of Fearless, Shanghai had a renaissance that would propel them into being contenders for the Grand Final Championship. However, heading into the winners' finals, a back-and-forth set between the APAC Titans put Shanghai on edge. Taking it all the way to the last map, Shanghai was forced to do something drastic in order to secure victory from the Dynasty. Shanghai decided now was the time to reveal their hidden composition. The first 2 maps of the series were a back-and-forth grind. With neither side showing a dominant hand over the other, it was destined to reach map 5 territory. Shanghai, running dive pretty much the entire time, held their own against Seoul's Hog and Ball Torture comp, trading map wins back and forth. However, when Hanamura round 2 came around and the Dynasty managed to full hold them on second point, the Dynasty went up 2-1 in the series. It was crunch time for the Dragons, and they had to make changes to secure the next 2 map victories without fear. Enter Shanghai's hidden composition. With a full tank line shift away from dive to a Sigma and Hog comp, matching Dynasty's own tank line, the entire pace of the game was about to be changed. Hitting Fearless against Gesture on Hog was the goal, and the Dragons were confident in Fearless's ability to do so. As we join the game partway through Havana, we're going to take a look at how Shanghai is able to beat Seoul at their own composition. In round 1, Seoul manages to push the cart just shy of third point, stalling underneath the archway. Looking at the ult economy, Seoul is by far in the advantage. With Blade, Nano, and Whole Hog up, a potential team wipe is at their disposal. Starting the fight off, Lip goes for a grapple shot off the tower and picks off Fitz down mid. This elimination creates a lot of space for Shanghai to work with, allowing Fleta to shoot arrows straight down the sightlines. Before Shanghai can stabilize before the oncoming fight, Prophet dashes into the air and Creative pops Nano. Singling out his first target, he hones in. Fearless, however, has other plans. Hooking him straight out of the air along with a perfectly timed Discord orb from Izayaki allows him to instantly be deleted from the game. Seoul's first trump card is now gone, and they're forced to improvise. Both teams pop Valkyrie to ensure that the playing field is as level as it can be. Unbeknownst to Seoul, Lip has managed to flank all the way around the Dynasty and grapples himself up to create a perfect 180-degree crossfire. After hearing the grapple, the entirety of Seoul turn around in an effort to apply pressure. But it is too late, and Lip eliminates Toby with a swift headshot. Gesture gets hooked, and Marvel melts. The Dragons were able to utilize the defender's advantage optimally, and now it is the Dragons' turn to push. Jumping straight into Shanghai's attack, let's look at how Shanghai's stacked abilities and ultimates counter the Dynasties. To begin, we see Void and Fleta on the top right high ground applying pressure to any stragglers from the Dynasty. This ultimately forces Seoul to move around the far left and attack the less defended cart. Heading in, the plan is to initiate with a nanoed Whole Hog and regain presence on the point. As Gesture hops in, he takes the nano and Fearless responds with his Whole Hog. Gesture cancels it and responds back with his own. Prophet sees the chaos as an opportunity to jump Izayaki, who uses Transcendence to save himself and hopefully any teammates caught out by the Whole Hog. Because of the damage Fleta is pumping into Gesture, he is forced to take a passive position behind the cart, which allows Li Jaegon to get the Resurrect onto Fearless, bringing the fight back to an even playing field. Void activates Flux and doesn't hesitate to solo ult Gesture, eliminating him. Simultaneously, Creative, looking to heal Gesture through Flux, tunnel visions and gets himself hooked for it. Shanghai is now 2 up and is allowed to advance the cart. Despite Marvel fluxing point, Seoul does not have a follow-up and the ult is wasted. It is at this time that Void pushes Marvel on the high ground and catches him pushed up a little too far. Fleta sends his dragon in, and once again the Dynasty is left with 1 tank and a scattered support line. One by one the Dynasty fall, and Shanghai takes point B. Needless to say, Shanghai carries this momentum through to the 3rd point, and takes Savannah, taking the series to a Game 5. On Lijiang, Shanghai decide to shake things up from the last map, and run a Reinhardt Diva composition featuring Mei McCree on DPS. However, take note of Seoul's comp, Afera, Sombra, and Hog. After swiftly taking the first control point, it comes down to the last round, last map. Before the round even begins, take a look at the composition that Shanghai is running. Look familiar? Shanghai, once again, plans to run somewhat of a mirror comp against Seoul, with the intention to beat them at their own game. Stabilizing after the initial fight, the Shanghai are rotating through the right side route to the point. What follows is the Shanghai tank line immediately sitting their bodies on point and acting as if they are the ones defending. By utilizing the point's natural defenses, they can place the entire team inside and be safe from any stray rockets coming from Prophet. And thus, the plan is set in motion. Lip decloaks front and center to divert attention from the threat behind, and Marvel falls for it. Distracted, Fearless takes advantage and reels him in, securing yet another pick. From here, Prophet is still alienated outside, stuck with nothing to do except fire rockets into Void's DM. Closing in around Gesture, Fleta finishes him off, and without a tank line, Seoul is forced to fall back and regroup. For Seoul's next advance onto the point, they have a plan. By having Fitz hack Void to remove Defense Matrix from the picture, Prophet would be free to wreak havoc with his barrage, all whilst under the protection of Creative's Nano. This is all fine and well, until Izayaki lands a cross-map sleep onto Gesture, putting him out of commission for the entire initiation. Nonetheless, Fitz goes through with the plan and hacks Void. Before Seoul can go any further, Lip stops them in their tracks with a 3-man EMP, invalidating Dynasty's plan and forcing a retreat while EMP wears off. As Gesture wakes up, he seems to be preoccupied with something in his own backline and falls to Void. Prophet, hoping to salvage something from the Nano, barrel stuffs Fleta and kills himself from the splash damage. For attempt number 2, it's not looking any better for the Seoul. Still holding on to both DPS ults, it's time to use them as the percentage reaches into the high 70s. Fitz tries to scout but gets spy checked by Void and translocates out. Relaying the info he got to his team, he joins the front line, EMP still ready to go. As the fight begins, Fitz drops to half, and the heals are preoccupied by Lip flanking in the back, resulting in Fitz dying once again. Fearless pops ult and causes Gesture to miss his hook onto Li Jaegon. At this point, the percentage climbs into the 90s, and the EMP is too late. Fleta is nanoed and picks the rest of the Seoul Dynasty off one by one, securing not only the map, but the series win. Coming off of this match, the Shanghai Dragons have once again proven that they are no longer the underdogs, and that they are on the grind behind the scenes. The Fearless Hog is surely a force to be reckoned with, and will likely be Shanghai's secret weapon going forward. We saw Shanghai systematically disassemble compositions that Seoul is known for and make it their own, except better. But the question remains, was Shanghai holding on to the Hog composition until later in the finals? Whether forced by Seoul's hand or their next opponent, it's certainly been practiced and Shanghai is not scared to pull it out if necessary. And no composition is safe when you're up against the Dragons. And that's all for this episode of Behind the Action. What did you think of Shanghai's performance in the playoffs? Is Fearless in contention for the best Hog in the league? As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. A huge thank you to everybody on this list, and shout out to Arknox, Sammy, Shampoo, Weeaboo, Nathan, Nate, and Moff for being Platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Raffi, Noodles, and Marco for being Diamond supporters. It really means a lot to us guys, thank you. And an extra special shout out to Undead Streaming for being our Grandmaster supporter. Once again, thank you everybody. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below, or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Nikita, and thank you for watching.